Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is with pleasure that we join you today. Um, I wish I could do two screens to show you, but I'm at my son's baseball game, enjoying the game, and and ensuring that each one of you enjoy some of what is happening. Of course, my son's team is getting killed. We don't want to mention how badly they're getting killed, but they're getting killed. Hey, Dr. Bryant, how are you doing?
Hey, how are you? But you have a screen, can't see you. So you got to take off your filter in the back.
My filter is green. I don't know how to do that, so I have to wait for Andre to come.
So we can't see you?
I guess you can't see me at
No,
all.
not at all. We're seeing half a face, half the bottom, your nose, and your mouth. That's it. What's going
Oh,
on, man?
s- how about now?
Still the same.
How about now?
Still the same.
How about now?
The same. Hello,
So,
ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, 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 welcome. While Roderick tried to pop up and show up.
what am
So
I trying to? What did you say I need to do now?
we need to see your face. We don't see your face. We see
I see my
background.
full face on the screen.
We see your background.
I think it's just you, but let me double check. Let me check on my other. Let me check, but I think it's just you. I think it's just your screen.
All right.
While I'm trying to figure it out, ladies and gentlemen, um, just know that I'm excited to be here with you on another Thursday, enjoying all of the festivities of the nice warm weather that that we're having. Uh, it is a beautiful thing, right? The weather's nice, the weather's beautiful. I am outside. I'm enjoying a baseball game with um, with my son. He struck out twice today, had a horrible day at the plate, and the game is officially over. They have officially lost. They have officially gotten slaughtered. Is probably a better word. You know, I guess I'm not supposed to say that. Or I'm daddy, right? I'm not supposed to say that. It's better than what one parent said. One parent said, "Ask to catch the duck so you can hit the umpire with the ball, so he would stop making bad calls." Right? How does that work? Um, so how you doing? How was the prom? How was the prom? How was everything? Why now you're
Now I can see you. All right, you're there now. I don't know what you did, but whatever you did, now we can
I
see
did
you.
I did absolutely nothing.
You did what?
I did absolutely nothing.
Well, I don't know. You were invisible before. We couldn't see anything. We saw blackness, a dark black screen, and then some part on the computer, you could see the logo. That's it. So it's nice to see you live. So the
Okay.
prom was great. My son um did his thing. He designed his outfit, sketched it out, had it made. So I'm very proud of him about that. Beyond that, that's it. That's it, folks. That's all. So now it's on to the graduation.
You know, yeah, and graduation is when
Tuesday.
the 24th, 25th.
Yep, the 25th. Why am I 25th?
It is, that time, right? You should tell him that he's turning 18. It's time for him to move out. No, they think at 18 they're men, right? They think that they're men. So you should tell them, oh, you're 18 now. It's time to move out.
Well, I'm not gonna tell my child that. You already know.
Um, no, you can't tell him that. You can't tell him that at all.
See, if you believe that young people believe that they're men already, you don't want to give them advice that try to say, okay, yeah, my parents are saying that. No, I'm not going to do that. That's dumb.
Why is it dumb?
It's dumb.
Some of these young people think they're grown, so since they believe that they're grown when they turn what's the age I just mentioned? 18?
Hmm.
You know how many of them actually believe that they're grown at 18, right?
Right.
Which makes me laugh all the time because I'm like, grown in what way, right? Oh, I think the law has to have stipulation, right?
Mm.
The law shouldn't just blankly say that if you're 18, you're considered an adult, right? I think the law has to say something like, if you're 18 and you can do this, and you can do that, and you can do that, then at that point, you consider yourself grown. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but it makes sense, right?
I guess.
What do you mean by you guess,
Yes, I guess.
right? I mean, think about it for a second. A lot of these young people, because all their lives they're heard, you're 18, you're an adult,
Hmm. And then
right?
reality set in
And no, reality doesn't set in.
because they realize that when you get to 18, you can't do anything. You got to wait to
No, not,
21.
no, but it's not even that. Not even that. It's that they use the term when it's beneficial,
Hmm.
right? It's beneficial to them. Then they use the term, like, for example, I'm 18, I'm an adult, I can stay out late,
Mm.
right? Because I'm an adult. But when it's you need to find a job or pay for your own college or pay your rent, it's but you're my parent,
Good evening, Star Girl. Thank you for joining our conversation this evening.
right? And I hear some of the parents who say, "Good evening, Star Girl." Right? I hear some of the parents who say that um, I wouldn't support my kids after 18. I'm putting them out. They need to find a job. I'm not that parent, but
Not either.
right, I'm not that parent. My rule is 25. Right, my rule is 25. What I do is slowly start giving them responsibility that they should follow in the house. So whether that responsibility is paying a bill, right? Depending on how old you are, paying a bill, take whatever you need to do to start learning responsibility of adulthood,
Hmm.
so to speak. But definitely, I don't believe at all in the buffoonery that says that um,
The only thing they can do now is vote and sign up for selective services. That's it.
what it is funny because even if they were to go to college,
They
it does
still need you.
no, they don't. They only need your money. They don't need you.
That's what I'm talking about. They need
But
your income tax.
they don't need you, right? Because
Hmm.
a lot of colleges don't even allow the children to speak to you, right? A lot of colleges are like, um, your child is of age and that's it, right? The
No.
child is of age.
This year, FAFSA, if your parents decide they're not going to give their tax return, that's a whole nother bracket that you don't qualify for.
No, this is what I'm saying to you. I'm
That is
saying
true, Karen. Hold on.
no,
Karen stated society uses the term for convenience for war, but but they are not entitled to express free speech.
right? That's correct. They're entitled to a few things at 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 that level. They are entitled to a few things,
Hmm.
and what to vote, to be disrespectful to their parents, and um and smell themselves, as my mother would say. Right, right, um, right. So that part is very evident in
Mhm.
terms of what they want to do. But the reality is they really honestly are not qualified for anything at all, because you
Mhm.
can't really have a job. Because nowadays, especially when you look at New York City public schools or other public schools, it's all about it's all about there's no vocational work, right? So there's no vocational work. Children don't learn vocation like they used to. So it's not even like they could get a good job anyway. But it's about convenience. I'm grown. My son told me that he was grown because he wanted to come in late. Late where? Right? Late where? And that was it. That once you live under my roof, they're my rules, and that's it. If you can't live by them, you got to go. You know, it's your. I'm not telling any of my kids to go, but my house has rules. My rule is at 25. My basic rule is at 25. You got to get the hell out of my house. That's it. That's my rule right there. 25. At 25, you should have finished college. If you didn't go to college, be able to settle yourself and do what you needed to do to help your situation. Right. So that's that. Um, I forgot. Thank you everyone for watching, viewing, sharing, participating in the village, where we're dedicated to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life through education, helping each one of us in realizing our dreams at any age, at any point, starting from today.
Mm.
All
Karen
right.
mentioned, tell him to pay the mortgage and the bills. And Stargirl wrote, if I have to support you after 18, you are not an adult. You
But
don't get
that
a chance
right,
to get
and that's the point that I'm making,
and
right?
use me. Period.
You know, but they believe that because society has told them you turn 18, you're an adult, right? And they believe that crap. And you as an adult, you as a parent have difficulties controlling some of
Mm-hmm.
their movements because they want to say they're an adult. And here's a real kicker:
What's that?
you can't put them out. You can't put them out because they still got to stay on your insurance until they're 26. You know, you know, And I'm like sitting there going, okay, you serious? So that's that. But I love to see like the children who understand that, and sometimes you have the other side too, right? The kids who never grow up, no matter what the hell you do. They want to live at home. They don't want to pay no bills. They're like, I'm your kid. You're responsible for me. Keep it moving. I'm forever gonna be your child. You have that too. Because I know grown men who still depend on their mother. I mean, grown 40, 50, 60-year-old men still. And they're capable people. I'm not talking about unhealthy people, but capable people who just, like that child who sucks their mother and they feel entitled to it. So they keep that. I don't know if you heard a situation like that, um, where the child is going and take the money out of the parent bank account because you still believe that they need to be, well, as we call it in Jamaica, suckle you. You know, I'm like, you guys are, absurd with certain things.
Mm.
So what's your age for your children? What's your age?
I don't know. I didn't think about that yet. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
That right
I
now,
100% gave them age.
I think right now my focus is just trying to make sure that my children are settled. That's it. That's it.
Mm.
Uh, age doesn't mean anything. There are
Well,
someone 35 years that still live with their parents. Hmm.
And they want a girlfriend. Woo! Woo! They want a wife. They want a girlfriend. Um, I think the reason not I think I know why I gave my children ages.
Why?
I gave them ages because they have to start learning responsibility,
Hmm.
right? I'm not a young father, right? So, and anything can happen. The older you get, anything can happen at any time.
Hmm.
And if you cajole them for all of their lives, right? If you cajole them all of their lives, then you they will not learn anything, learn responsibility. So my goal, I don't know how successful I'm going to be, is that my children would have graduated from college, save enough money to make that down payment on their house or on their apartment, wherever they want to live, you know, because I do know one of my sons, he's definitely don't want a house. He probably definitely want to live in a 2-bedroom apartment where he doesn't have to do anything at all.
Hmm.
Whereas the other one would want to own a house, right? And one of them, he just want to just bum it with everybody, right? so, so the last two want their own house as of right now. They all want their own house.
Okay.
Um, so we're just gonna have to, see what happens, right? But you know, good night, all. Hey, Janice, how you doing? You know, so it's real excitable and fun but it's good to watch them grow up, right? It's good to watch them follow, uh, right? Follow the philosophy behind it.
Yeah, it is a good thing to see your children grow up and finally hit a stage that they work hard for, and you as well. Um, it's definitely good to see growth. And with that stage comes another stage. So it is a blessing to be able to be healthy, alive, to witness. That's all. Thank you for all our listeners for tuning in, for joining us, because a lot's been going on lately. And we could start off a little bit as Mr. Roderick um, is busy in and out because of the game. But it's all good. First of all,
No, no,
Roderick,
no, what happened is that the game is over and they're packing up, and they always so I'm stepping off here for one moment. Let me help my son with his bag in the car, and I'll be right back. So you go ahead and talk to the listeners.
and Roderick Rudolph Shaw says, thanks again for supporting our Juneteenth show yesterday. Good conversation. Keep up the good, I guess, work. And Karen wrote, children need to know what the responsibility is to becoming adults, which is true. They do need, I don't understand why this man left his door open, but they do need to know what responsibility is. Um, Listeners, what did you all do for Juneteenth? So if you went out, and last week we had an amazing guest on
What did y'all
uh,
do for what?
Juneteenth. If you went out to the show,
Oh,
to the event, how did you celebrate Juneteenth? So share it with us. If you had the opportunity to go and see the play that our wonderful guest shared with us yesterday, please share that with us.
I actually stopped by the event
Awesome.
um yesterday. I was so busy yesterday, but I was able to stop by myself in Sampras to see what's happening. You know, let me just interrupt myself by saying, man, when these games is over, to get these kids to go home.
And why do you leave your door open when you actually go to the back? any crazy person can go and hit the door and ram right through your door, and it'll be your fault
I,
because
I
you
will
left
I will
it
tell you a story about that. About 15 years ago, maybe 20. I'm driving on Atlantic Avenue, um, and while driving on Atlantic Avenue, the guy um, the guy runs the person fell asleep at the light. Right, the person fell asleep at the light, and the car started rolling.
Oh.
Right, and the car started rolling, and the guy sees this, and he drives in front of the car and jumps out and jumps out and attempted Cooper. I'm on the air. Right, right, and he left his car right in the front, and the guy was still sleeping as he was trying to wake him up, knocking on the window, and the car kept going and rolling, and then boom, he took off the man's door. The one that was trying to save him, his door was gone.
Yeah. Well, you just actively left your door open and went to the trunk. So, um, okay.
So that
So,
that made me laugh.
I want to say congratulations, Roderick.
Oh, what?
Congratulations go out to you
Oh, something happened.
for winning your cheer to be
Oh,
here again. Congrats, congrats, congrats.
thank
Well
you.
deserved. Well deserved.
It was uh
Community
good.
board chairperson. Yes.
Yeah. This is my last term, and to be honest with you, you
Hmm.
know, I would have been willing to step down. I would have been willing to step down from the chair. A lot of people like the idea of being the chair because they people fail to realize that anybody who's the chair of the board has an agenda, right? So anybody in office has an agenda, whether your agenda is education or public safety or rezoning
Hmm.
or whatever that agenda is, right?
Hmm.
And sometimes people, I am the head of the board, so my agenda is the board's agenda, right? Not my personal agenda. And a lot of people feel that when they go into to that
Politics in
board,
general. Hmm.
that board chair,
Hmm.
like they could do whatever they want, and you can't, right? Because there's so many restrictions as the board chair. Um, and that's just it, right? And
Hmm.
so I appreciate I appreciate um, the, the faith and the confidence that the board members have in me to
Hmm.
reelect me as board chair, right?
All right.
So I thank all of the board members, all of them, for their support. In my years as a board chair. So
And
I'm looking forward to working with the board, working with the community.
so another thing.
Is it me that's frozen?
I think I'm going in
Okay.
and out. I'm gonna get a pack, but well deserved because when I call you and you're laying in the hospital, I'm like, what are you doing, Roderick? Oh, I'm on a board meeting. I'm having a meeting here. I'm having a meeting there. So there's a lot behind the scene and a lot of sacrifice you have made in regards to that. And you showcase that daily, that no matter what, you're going to be there. So thank you for showing up for your community, being vocal about it, and being present
Yeah,
in
yeah,
person and on the bed from
yeah,
the
yeah.
hospital.
Whatever phone calls I need to make, whatever meetings I need to go to or have somebody attend, we need to continue, right? Because I
Hmm.
feel like there's a certain amount of things that are affecting the middle class, that's affecting the Caribbean community that I represent, right?
Hmm.
That people truly can't afford certain things anymore, right? They just can't. And New York City has become dangerously expensive, and we have to fight for that.
Understatement.
And speaking of which, um, we are now the third board in Brooklyn
Hmm.
to vote down vote down the city of yes.
Oh, okay. So what does that mean?
So that means that they have to go back to well, if it continues to get voted down, they have to go back to the drawing board
Hmm.
and vote and revisit some of the things that they're talking about.
Okay.
So, like, some of the things that I'm advocating against. Um,
Speak
I,
about it. What is the city of yes? Before you start advocating, for those who don't know, what does the city of yes mean?
so the city of yes is a city looking to create more housing in
Hmm.
New York City by changing some of the standards of housing in New York City.
Hmm.
So, like, for example, you could build up, you could build to the side, you could do this. Developers can come in, they don't have to provide parking, especially um, in a lot of areas that I represent. They're two fare zones. So, if you take out parking, that's a problem. Um, making it mandatory, you know, and so part of my argument is one, you need to make the apartments more affordable,
Yes.
right? Because the prices of the apartments are ridiculous. You know,
Hmm.
people people talk about developers coming in, and I want to be clear about certain things, right? Developers don't own a property unless you sell it to them,
Mm.
right? There are some situations where they get undercutted, right? They get undercutted and they're cheated out of those places.
Hmm.
But for a lot of people, it's hard to tell people not to sell your home, right?
Hmm.
You're flashing, and certain part of the district, the houses are worth north of a million five,
Hmm.
and you bought it at 200,000, 300,000. All of a sudden, somebody's flashing a 1,500,000, $2 million for that home.
Hmm.
You're like, wow, especially if what do you call it when the kids move out and you're there by yourself?
Empty nester.
Empty nest, right? So you bought this house when you had five kids. Now you're grown, you're 60 years old, and your five kids are gone. The youngest one is 30 or 33 years old or whatever. You might only need one bedroom or two bedroom, maybe even three, right? For when the
Hmm.
grandkids come over, whatever the case is.
Hmm.
And it's hard to maintain that house. You have to pay light bill, gas bill, water bill. You have to clean the damn house. When the house is that big, you still got to clean it, right? And it creates problem when it's being flashed. So it's hard. So everybody, developers, first of all, you have to look at people buying the homes, right? People are selling their homes, right? And they're
Hmm.
selling it to the highest bidder. And why are they selling it? Well, there are a whole bunch of issues. One, a lot of the people, you're able to buy a house with a family member back in the days. Um, you have multiple people on the deed and you pay for the house and you buy the house. You had predatory lending, and now you can't afford the homes anymore. You have
Right.
high taxes. Um, you know, your income, because now before you're working, maybe you're able to work a double shift, but only one of them is pensionable. So now that
Hmm.
only one of them is pensionable, and you only get a small amount pension, and you didn't put enough into Social Security to be able to afford the high taxes and mortgage and all the stuff and all the things that went along with that, that house does not become affordable.
Mm-hmm.
You get older, you have ailments, you have sickness, your copay. Even if you have insurance, your copay is not ridiculous.
Right.
All right. So you look at these monies that you're getting and you take them. So we have to look at a number of things, right? A lot of people don't believe in generational wealth. So I'm sitting here telling you, like, for example, that um, some parents, like, you're 18, it's time to go. So they don't believe in generational wealth. You need to create your own,
Mm-hmm.
right? I have mine. So all of I'm just saying these are different factors that make people sell their homes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or they're moving down south.
Yeah,
We're
right. Well,
making Florida now one of the most expensive places to live.
right. And so people are talking about gentrification. They're talking about this. They're cussing. Is not, you start with the seller, not the buyer. You start with the seller.
Well, originally, I'm going to say this. Several years ago, they were, and they continue to do this, uh, especially older parents,
They'll
grandparents,
prey
or
on
whatever.
them. They'll prey on them.
Yeah,
Yes.
big time. So if you're not paying attention to your family members, you really do need to, because unfortunately, a lot of them are taken advantage of, and their property is taken advantage. A lot of times, their deeds are stolen right from them. So they are still investigating that. So a
And
lot
that's
of
another
things,
factor as well, which is what I said.
yeah,
Right.
a lot of things are happening that as homeowners you need to be aware and keep your eyes open. Just because it looks easy, guess what? You still have a certain amount of taxes when it's a certain, when you're selling it at a certain income bracket.
Yeah, but see, one of the things, like, you especially within my community, you have a lot of Caribbean, a lot of
Mhm.
secrets, right? I don't want to discuss my finances with my children because I'm afraid of what they might do. Like, a lot,
But guess what?
one of the big thing is, I don't want to have a will, because if I produce a will, um, my child is want to take me out, right, to see what's in that will. And I'm saying to parents, are you serious,
And
right?
what tends to happen, hey, you're gonna go with the first person. Hey, I'm gonna offer you $800,000 for this house. And guess what? Because it's over 500,000, is there a certain tax you have to pay. And the wonderful IRS is, you're gonna have to pay that back. It's not like, hey, you're paying
I mean,
minimal.
I would say that that component of it is depending on your profit margin.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more about greed, right? It's more about flashing money that you have never seen in your life. You're 80 years old. You've never seen, and you're a nursing assistant,
Oh my
or
god.
you're a nursing assistant, or you're this, or you're that, and you have never seen a check for $500,000 in your name, and you're like, wow, that's a lot of money. And then you realize it's not a lot of money because you can't live nowhere.
Sophia,
But
this is why they have willing trust.
they don't. But I'm saying, Sophia, that they don't have that, right? They don't have it, right? It is a tremendous amount of convincing to a parent. I know a situation now where the grandmother is going to lose a 6 family home
Mm,
because she refuses to give it up. Like, the
mm.
grandson is like, I want the home so I can help renovate the house. She's not willing to sell it, but yet
Okay.
still it's not being rented, it's not being taken care of, and but that's just it, right? Right, and that these are real situations within Caribbean community. The trust
Yeah.
factor is huge. Why do you think we don't go to the doctor? Why do you think we don't, take care of ourselves? Is it trust? Me not trust no doctor. I just trust God. God will take care of it.
Well, God gives you wisdom too.
That's the point that they are missing, right? That's the major point, that there was that God puts people into your lives that can make a difference about the things that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and, and a lot of people fail to come to that recognition. And that failure causes problems. And you know what? We try to resolve it at the last moment. I was watching an African movie, and there's a show on Netflix, and I kind of like it. It's called How to Ruin Love, right? It's called How to Ruin Love on Netflix, and the father is losing the house, right? The father is losing the house and refuses to tell the family. Till the mother moved out and begged his sister, and her sister was a blabbermouth. Oh, it's my house. Oh no, it's my, like, which is what he was also trying to avoid, because he was trying to avoid shame. What did Karen say? Can you read that for me?
We need more enforcement of law against redlining. The courts aren't practicing due process, or the justice system isn't prosecuting for deed theft or foreclosure fraud
Yeah,
theft.
yeah, yeah. I agree with you, right? I agree with you, but we're talking about your deed theft is a very small portion of gentrification. It is very small. I mean, it's not even the amount of houses that are done through deed theft. It's not even 1%, right? Not that it's not important. The person who lost their home, deed theft is vital. It's kind of like, although murders are down in New York City, right? The 5 people got shot. The 83-year-old great grandmother who got shot, don't care about the statistics that it's lowered because she got shot.
Mm-hmm.
But deed theft is an issue, but it's not the major issue,
Mm.
right? It's not the major issue in New York City.
So what's the major?
Predatory, predatory lending was a major issue,
Mm-hmm.
right? That you put these people in these homes that they couldn't afford,
Yes, yes, yes. That's true.
right? You and so families who couldn't afford them, they started pooling their monies together. Um,
Or no deed loans. A lot of
yeah,
them were doing no deed loans, and
exactly.
that was that.
Yeah,
Oops.
people who move into your homes and don't pay the rent, so
That
put your
too.
house in foreclosure. That's a larger issue than deed theft, right? Because the number of people who lose their home, their two-family homes, because you know what? I bought the home. Let's say you are a nurse's assistant, or you are a teacher's aide or a paraprofessional,
Mm-hmm.
and you're able to, somebody left you some money, and you're able to make that down payment on a two-family. You're expecting that renter to help you, right? Or you
Mm-hmm.
have children who are so dependent upon you that they're not willing to do what is necessary to ensure that they help out around the house, because again, they find you to be a dependent. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they think they're a permanent dependent. People, and this is a big thing, like family members who borrow money from other people in the family and don't return. They think you have infinite money. Those are a greater issue than deed theft. Not belittling deed theft, right? Not belittling it, but we also want to make sure that our listeners understand that their deed theft is rare, but it does happen. Or should I say, not rare, but uncommon, right? And you're right, Karen, that we do the things need to put in place about deed theft. While saying that, I was driving home yesterday on
Mm-hmm.
St. Mark's in Brooklyn, right? And on St. Mark's, um, and the person 91 St. Mark's Avenue had the big signage that said this house was gotten by deed theft. It's not.
Oh.
Karen, you and I kind of have this conversation off air. It's not a crisis for Black and brown people. It is not a crisis. It is an issue, not a crisis. The crisis is generational wealth. The crisis is affordability, right? Affordability is a crisis in
Mm-hmm.
our community. people can't afford to buy homes or stay in their homes.
That's true.
Right?
It's too
Right?
expensive.
It's too expensive. Paying rent. Those are crises. Us not graduating from school and getting a good job. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That those
That's a
are
price.
more not that I'm not belittling the Apache house. Oh, right. So it's not belittling it, but I don't want us to be so lost with that we're so concentrated. It's kind of like police brutality, right? Or police killing.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it doesn't exist, and when it does exist, it is crazy. However, we fail to not talk about the fact that we kill more of
Mm-hmm.
our
People.
own
Mm-hmm.
because you know, right? That we kill more of our own than the police. Yes, it's an outrage, it's the outcry. But in a year, you might have 10 unwanted, 10 murders, which is too many,
Mm-hmm.
right? By police. But you have 14,000 murders by black people. So, killing each other.
Mm.
Oh, I'm sorry. He told me 1791. Am I wrong? Oh, okay.
And Sophia wrote, instead of creating a will, you will have a willing trust to prevent the kids paying a lot on the taxes.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Um,
that's true. Well, that's for those people who believe in generational wealth, though, right? You know, generational wealth. If you believe in generational wealth, then yeah, create the ing create
and
the
Karen, that's true, create the trust. Karen wrote, check data, and she
I'm not
also check shelters and school. All right. So,
Karen. I agree. You're making an argument like this is it, right? Like this is it. It's 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 not it. It's I know, right? It's a major problem, right? It's a major problem. Deed theft, major. And if it happens to you, it's 100% of the time,
of course.
right? And so if it happens to you, is a greater problem than not. But in the grand scheme of if if 100 million homes are sold in a year, maybe 2,000 have been done through deed theft. Maybe a
Okay.
lot more have been done through greed, through family members neglecting their homes, sick, homes going into probate because they didn't create a will. And all the children are in court all day arguing until the tax overdue and they lose the property, go into probate and all that stuff, right?
Hmm.
So, we yes, okay, yes, Karen, yes, Karen, but you're right. Yes, Karen, you are right. Is this the major issue? Right? That's the question that you need, and not that it's you're arguing as if it's not a problem, but this is not the major issue. It is an issue. But is this the number one reason why black and brown people are losing their homes? No. It is, and I think that's the difference between what you're saying and what we're saying. We're not arguing that it's not an issue. We're arguing that it's not the major issue. It is an issue, but it's not as great issue as you're making it seem on the platform.
Affordability is a huge problem. Affordability, not having access, not being able to
Exactly.
get
Those
into
things
the
are important.
home. You know, the cost of rent in New York City is out the roof. The amount that, I was speaking to somebody just this week, the amount that we pay for rent out here is
It's
what,
skyrocketing.
5 bedroom,
Homes
six
are not
bedroom
affordable.
home. Yeah,
I mean, I have.
outside the state.
Let me just answer Karen. In New York City, there are essentially, of all the conversations around homes and loss of homes, the number one conversation is generational wealth. Parents don't pass on their homes to their children. That is number one. Number two is affordability. So deed theft is not even number 10. People like our Dr. Brian said, people moving out of state and selling their homes.
Mm-hmm.
I know more people who have left the New York State, right? Left New York State and sold their homes than at least 50 to 1 over deed theft. So it's not that deed theft doesn't happen, right? So let's not kid ourselves that it doesn't happen, but you can't make it seem like that's the issue. That's the vital issue. It's not. It is an issue. Let's place the level of importance on the issue. Like we don't just like when you talk about kids dropping out of school, right? Why are kids dropping out of school? Why are black and brown boys dropping out of school more than? And one, it's cyclical. A lot of their parents don't have an education. They don't know how to give them an education, right? And a lot of times education at home is not reinforced, no matter how much the child comes to school. Because remember, in school, everybody in a class, if the books are despicable, every child has a despicable book. And some kids will pass the Regents with that same despicable book. That other, when I say despicable, I don't mean like language in the book. I mean like the book might be worn. The book that's what I'm talking about, right? They will still pass, but the data still shows
Mm-hmm.
that black and brown boys, number one, drop out at the highest rate. Absenteeism. Parents going to work early. Parents have to make a certain amount of sacrifice to make sure the kids get to school on time. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the truth of the matter is, if they have a hard job, they can't get to school on time because sometimes they work 2 jobs. And by working 2 jobs, you literally, right? You literally can't. Sometimes you wake up way early to work, right? You're working a double shift. You're tired. You don't understand that education, a trade, businesses, right, move and help you to get a good life, a good job that makes your home affordable. 2-family homes, right, where they're double income, that affects that as well, right? If I'm in a 2-family home, it makes it more feasible for me to afford where I live because they're 2 income coming in. So if I'm making 30,000, you're making 30,000, that's 60,000. That helps in terms of how much work a one parent might have to do versus one person who's only making 30,000, right? Doing 2 jobs just to make 60,000 dollars so they can afford a home. Something has to be sacrificed. Religion. When people are overly religious and don't do the same emphasis on religion as they do on education, right? If the child can recite their Bible, they're supposed to be able to recite their book. But you have parents who just focus on reciting the Bible and not their book. Yes. So
Okay.
every factor matters, right? You have to add everything and just can't just say this is the issue. Let's see what is.
All right. So the last one on this topic, out-of-state unlicensed loan servicers are allowed to foreclose wrongfully in New York. That I have to agree. That I have to agree. And that I have to agree. It is very common in New York.
And all of these things, right? All of these things are part of the problem that addressed this situation.
Yes.
You did some real estate, so you could answer this better than I am. Do you disagree with what I'm saying? Do you agree? Do you agree with Karen that it's a major issue? Do you see that as the major issue for Black and brown families?
There's a lot of issues. And I have to agree with you, Roderick. If you're a homeowner, you're concerned about your home being taken over, fraudulent activity happening, a mortgage company not acknowledging that you pay. And then many times they sell the loan so many times, there are cracks in between. So there's a lot going on with that they're quick to go into the foreclosure process before they actually work out. Not being able to work with the borrowers. So they make more money going into foreclosure and selling it off to another company or whatever, instead of making it reasonable for the borrower, unfortunately. And it is something I known plenty of people who actually have gone through this, where they have lost their property. And other service loan companies, mortgage company come in, they have fraudulent things, no one has the correct information, and then you feel as though you're lost. You're running here and there to court. Some people are helping, some people aren't. But then if it's an outside organization that says, hey, we own the mortgage here, you're in between, fighting the past, fighting the present. It is very frustrating. It is a point where people feel vulnerable and they don't feel that they have enough support. I have to agree with you with that, Karen, because many people have gone to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. Many organizations mention that they can support, and they have not. So this is true. I will not disagree with you. But also in New York City, what's happening is more people cannot afford to live here. And that becomes a bigger issue, because here it is, you have to have a place to live. But if you are just working just enough to, hey, I could pay the rent this month, but I can't pay it next month because I have to afford, or I have children, or hey, the price went up. This week I didn't check, but the cost of 2 year renting out for 2 years, that was supposed to go up. So there's a lot going on. The affordability issue is a lot. People want to purchase, but they can't afford it because the interest rate is too high. So you're like stuck into a apartment situation because, hey, the price of this is too much. The price of that is too much. It might be easier. So it is a very, very, very sticky situation. It's a frustrating situation from all angles, from home buyers who get tenants who won't pay, and then they have to go through years and years of going to court. Then you have squatters. So it's a lot of different situation involving here. The squatters have rights. It wasn't until that videotape of the lady getting arrested that they actually paid attention to it. Many people have been complaining, hey, squatters are taking over. And guess what? As an owner, you're paying for this, but you're ignored. So there's every angle that people come and they take over your property. and it's as though you have no right, no voice, nothing. So it is a very frustrating situation from every angle. And that is where we need people who are responsible for helping with the situation to get involved. Understand what the owners, the buyers, and the renters are going through. When many people go into office promising all these wonderful things and they don't keep to their promise, get rid of them. Remember them when you go and vote.
You know, Dr. Bryant, I so agree with you with that. And if you plan to help the constituent, and something, I started this, and told the audience how I got reelected as chair. And a lot of times people go into office with these grandiose ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and um that they think they can make these changes, and they fool people and people vote for them,
Mm-hmm.
and then they can't do it, right? The biggest example is Donald Trump, right? He went in saying that he's going to build the wall and Mexico is going to pay for it, right? Um, and it never got done, right? The wall never got done because it was an unrealistic expectation of what your abilities are. And so a lot of our elected officials, I sat in a meeting where I'm watching the bureaucracy work, right? So I'm sitting in a meeting in the mayor's with the mayor, and I'm watching the agencies having these conversations, like what the law permits and what the law doesn't permit. And some of our elected, it's people are yelling, and I went to the board meeting and people are yelling at the elected officials. I'm sitting there going, the elected official only allocates the money, and they have some oversight of the money,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's certain things in the law that you can't do,
Right. And people tend
right?
to forget that.
And people tend to forget, why aren't there 100% of black owned businesses building this project? Well, first of all, you don't have 100% of black owned businesses with the economic capital to be able to bid on this building,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you actually have to have there's a certain amount of money that your company has to be that your company has to be worth.
You see your Karen, what you wrote?
No,
Daily
I
for
didn't.
Daily for Attorney General 2025.
Uh, you know, um,
And if you don't have
honestly,
the money, you could forget it. You could forget
right?
another thing.
and
As
and
you
and and if you don't have the bond money or whatever they call it in building, so like so a $30 million contract, and and a black company that does electrical work, right? And you say, why can't this person bid on $30 million? Well, you're gonna have to be able to afford $30 million before you can bid on $30 million, and
mm,
that's not. And to me, right? And so people, that's a problem, right? Because the
mhm.
city in I had a when I did my basketball thing, it was $25,000, which I'm still owed money, right? I'm still owed money because they expected for you to have $25,000 in order to gain $25,000, which doesn't make sense, right? What's the point of telling me that you give me $25,000 toward a contract and
And you don't
pay
get
out
it.
money first, right? I have to pay out this money first and then do reimbursement. What if I don't have $25,000? What if I have to take out a
Then
loan
you don't have.
on that money? That doesn't make sense. So some of these things that we talk about sometimes, um, we have to be
You have to
the expectation,
behind
the
the scenes.
expectation that we have on individuals and the reality of that individual are oftentimes, as you get closer and closer, to two different things. You expect the principal and the school to educate your child, but the school doesn't have the capability. I know parents who drop their kids off at school and never get back in touch with the school again.
Mhm.
Again, they don't. And then when the report card comes, they're like, "Why my child is failing?" The
Because you
school
know
has the phone number is wrong. They didn't pay their phone bill for whatever the reasons are, or they changed their number. They didn't update the school. They never come. Your kid, we tell you that your child didn't do homework. How you just telling me my child didn't do homework? How the child it's called homework. That means that you as a parent should be checking to see that the child is doing homework.
Okay, on that tip, I have a question for you. So right now, Tuesday is the election, primaries, right?
Primary, right? Mm-hmm.
But here it is, going back and
Oh,
forth. Every
let's just be clear on the before you even start that. Let everyone be clear, right? That there is still early voting that you can do in
Until
specific areas, and this year, unless there's a special election in your district, this year is primarily only federal and state officials that are up for re-election or for election, and some cases some judges. Yes, your question.
So every time I turn on the TV, what commercial
Jamal
do I
Bowman?
see? Yes, what is going on? What is going on? Please elaborate. And then to read that it's Clinton backing up, Hillary Clinton that's backing up some of these commercials. What is Democrat versus Democrat? What is happening?
It's a primary.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's a primary. What happens in the primary is that, and this is what I like, right? This is what I like. I do actually do like this. And what I like about it is that Democrats need to step up and vote for the candidate that you feel will represent you. Because if you live in a Democratic district, more than likely that Democrat is going to win. And in this case, whoever wins the Democratic primary in the area that is up for re-election now will probably win the general election. So what has happened is that Jamal Bowman, and I'm going to do a shameless plug and say I have invited Jamal Bowman on this show. I've spoken to him personally, and he didn't show up. So maybe some of the things that they're saying is true. Right? Jamal Bowman might not represent the Democratic, all of the major Democratic ideals.
This is that's your point of view, right?
No, well, I'm just saying I don't have a point of view on Jamal Bowman.
Okay.
I'm not in his district. I don't know how he works. And so, right? And so it's the people, and the former George Latimer, who's running against him, was an elected official and a very well-liked elected official in that county.
Okay.
He's not up for re-election. So this is what elected officials do. One of the things that a lot of elected officials do is that they run on what's called their off year. Right? So he might be up for re-election next year. So he put up a strong campaign this year to run for Congress because he sees a weakness in Jamal Bowman. And he's already a well-organized politician. And so some of his issues, though they're still Democratic, his ideals are not the same. But the interesting thing is that he has actually more power than Jamal Bowman because he's the county executive. So he's like a mayor. The county executive, however, doesn't have the same prestige as a congressperson. And congressperson, you keep running for life. Right? Whereas a county executive, you might have a term limit.
Okay.
And this might be his term limit. I don't know. I didn't check. So those factors make him, and if you think that a candidate is weak, the person whose office is weak, so I'm going to go for that seat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened to Max Rose a few years ago to Nicole Malakatakis from Staten Island, and he lost the seat.
Right.
He won it, and then he lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and then she has won it for the last
2 years,
two terms.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But this is very good because those individuals who are involved in the election process, right? Those people who are involved in the election process will be more likely to get out and vote for the candidate that you think will represent you in November, and then come January if elected. So that seat, a lot of money, a number of people.
Okay. Yeah, a whole lot of money.
You know, one organization has spent $14.5
They consider
million.
him.
You know, James Latimer said George, right? So overall broadcast spent $22 million, right? And so Bowman has labeled Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza as a genocide, and that's going to hurt him in a Jewish neighborhood because he lives in a Jewish area. So that alone is going to make them run against it. I've told people this number of times. If you're always anti-Semite if you don't agree with the Jews. That's just how it works in America. So you have to be careful about what you say if you disagree. So by saying the war is a genocide is a problem. Look, former Secretary Clinton, right?
She's spending money,
right. And that's it. I'm not sure what the acronym AIPAC means. Let me see what they stand for. But it gets nasty.
It does. It has been very much so.
It's more. It's a pro-Israel group. American Israel Public Affairs Committee. So American Israel, and they've spent $14 million on what is happening. And you see a lot of these things going up. Is Jamal Bowman doing a good job? I've seen he's voted Democratic in his voting record, period. Right? He's a Democratic candidate, Democratic person, and he's voted along the Democratic line since he's been in office. He's been on television a couple of times speaking out. He's a very well-educated man.
He was a principal.
It was a principal for a number of years in the Bronx. And he propelled that to becoming a congressperson. So this will be a tough
race.
A tough race. And if he wins, he's going to have a tough race in November as well.
Yeah. Alexandria.
Because there's the same comment about against it.
She's running for re-election too. But she's been very, very silent.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, I don't like her. I think she's too far left in America, and you're bringing America to a standstill because of your leftist policy. I don't like leftist politicians.
Okay, why don't you tell people how you really feel? My gosh.
I don't like people to the left. I don't like people to the far right.
So I have to.
I don't think anything should be absolute. You have to.
last night, CCC with Al Sharpton had Pastor Bernard with Al Sharpton had a prayer vigil on Juneteenth for Haiti. Visual and they wanted people to come out and to support what was happening. So I have to give it up to Jamani Williams, who actually spoke truth. He spoke about, and Andre and I speak about this all the time, about some of the things that was holding Haiti hostage. And not too many politicians would be as vocal, but I give it up to him because he really spoke about what different countries and nations have done in order to keep Haiti down. So, and all the elected officials that came out, kudos. It was a amazing event that different countries, different places, people united on Juneteenth because it signified the independence of slavery, when slaves were told, whatever, but just going back to, hey, remember, they were the first ones that actually got their independence, but we have to revisit this again. So
It-
kudos
it-
to
I think one of the things you need to talk about, though they
mhm.
got the independence, was it January 2nd, 1804? Um, there
They were
were
never fully free because
they
paying back
were
your
they were fully free, right? They were
no
fully free.
paying back for freedom.
No, I'm saying they were
Yeah.
fully free. The problem was that they signed a catastrophic agreement that lent them the missed opportunity to be truly autonomous, right? Because they what is it that they had to pay back France reparation with a ridiculous amount of money,
And even the United States with the
right?
bank and Citibank and some of the companies that was open on behalf of stolen money, that is something else.
Right. And so, people have to, you know, let it's funny. I was just thinking about this saying. I mean, Assembly member Rodney Spachat, Hermelin, at the meeting was talking about what's going on in Haiti. No, not her. My apologies. Congresswoman Yvette Clarke was talking
Hmm.
about what's going on in Haiti and what we need to think about and focus on when we look at Haiti and the discriminatory
Again.
worldwide discriminatory practices
Hmm.
that 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 are happening in Haiti, right?
Hmm.
Even the neighbor Dominican Republic has issues with Haiti,
Hmm.
um, and has demonstrated that, right? So it's like Haiti in itself it's taboo, right? It's for using a Haitian word, it's voodoo, right? Right? And needed to represent.
Hmm.
Um, and to me, Haiti should be cherished more than any other Caribbean country
Hmm.
because it is the start of
Hmm.
freedom
Yep.
of Caribbean nations
Yep.
in the West Indies.
And that's what Jamani Williams mentioned last night. He did. He 100% spoke about that. Uh, Brad, our controller, also mentioned that many of the Jews were grateful to Haiti because when they needed after the Holocaust and during the time they escaped to Haiti to actually help them out. So he mentioned that as well. But he is also running to be mayor.
He's not running yet to be mayor.
Oh, but he's making some. So
So
Cuomo, him.
so Cuomo's, so no one
Okay.
has made the announcement that they're running.
Okay.
Everyone has made the announcement that they're exploring running.
Why is everybody exploring?
Because you want to see how much money you can raise. You want to see what conversations behind the scene to see who's going to back you. You want to see not just how much money you can raise, but how many. So quantity and quality.
Okay.
Quality is the number of people. Quantity is the number of money. Let's look at it like that, right?
So how many people are actually exploring? Let's
So as
make.
far as I know, what I've known and read and heard in the conversation, clearly the mayor, Eric Adams,
Mm-hmm.
State Senator Zelno Myrie,
That's interesting. Okay.
Andrew Cuomo,
Okay.
and Brad Lander,
Okay.
Comptroller Brad Lander. Brad
Wait,
Lander,
is city is Scott Stringer going to explore again?
and not as far as I know,
Okay.
but Brad Lander. Here's where, remember I spoke earlier about off year for a politician.
Mm-hmm.
If Brad, in order for Brad Lander to run,
Mm-hmm.
he's almost assured that he's going to get support from the unions, working families, the heavyweight hitters in the city,
Okay.
because he's in his year.
Okay.
So if he plans to run for mayor, he has to give up his seat as controller.
Mm.
Senator Zelno Myrie is like James Latimer in Yonkers. He's not giving up anything.
Mm-hmm.
He's hoping to switch positions.
Mm.
So if he wins, let's say Zelno Myrie wins the primary and becomes mayor, then he gives up the seat as state senator.
Okay.
Right? Andrew Cuomo has nothing to lose because he's not in office, so he could do whatever he wants. So he could even switch and say, okay, you know what? You could do that. I'll run for a controller.
Mm.
And then Eric Adams has a second term if elected. So that's the interesting thing about politics. I want to move on because a lot of our audience say that we talk about politics a lot.
Yeah.
Joe Biden has done something incredible for many people living in the United States, and we want to finish up with that. We have only a few minutes left.
Oh, wait. I also want to listen. I want to acknowledge the governor of Maryland. Because the day before Juneteenth, he actually signed.
Okay.
He did sign and release 175,000 people that were convicted for marijuana charges. So when I spoke to someone, I said 175,000. They were like, "No, that's no."
He didn't release 175,000.
He
He expunged the record of 175,000.
So that they have, it is a nice relief offer you. You can breathe a sign of relief. Period.
Ladies and gentlemen, the only thing I want to say, Doc, is that don't be fooled.
You said don't be fooled?
Nope. Because unless those fingerprints are removed from the city and all of those persons' numbers are
They could
gone,
get a job now. Mm-hmm.
they they will still have to answer questions. They can never say they were never arrested because your name is still going to show up with a docket number,
Mm-hmm.
right? They might not know what it is,
Mm-hmm.
but unless expunge and deleted, both of those things have to happen. If it's only one, then it's ineffective because then you still can't get government jobs, unlike the president who's running and is a convicted felon, right? Most of those people are people of color, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and 150 something thousand of it are just misdemeanors, like possession of marijuana, like you had smoking it, and then another 18,000 other misdemeanors with possession and
Oh, Donald is on here. Donald, can you hear us? I apologize.
oh no, he has to put on his camera. We don't really have enough time to talk to Donald. We only have 4 minutes. I know he wanted to come on and say something, so we're gonna have
No,
to
you
leave it for
can have
next
him
week.
come and say something quickly for 2-3 minutes and then come back next week.
Why should you not call a spade? Because they feel that way. That doesn't mean right. What do you mean by that? Why should you not call a spade a spade? Tell us a little bit more about that, Celia. I'm not sure what you mean by who you're talking about calling a spade a spade. Um, I'm
So
not
yeah,
sure.
you were talking about Biden briefly.
Before I get to Biden, but thank you for bringing that up. I want to say that just quick news: P Diddy gave back the seat, the key to the city.
Okay, moving right along. You
Why?
finished with that, P. Diddy?
You know what? That's important, right? It's important because of the crap that he's been doing to women, right? Like the abuse, right? You can't recognize. You can't have a city. The key to the city is an honor, right? And he's at this present moment dishonorable from what we've seen in the media, right? Maybe in person he's an honorable guy, but what we've seen in the media is that he is completely dishonorable. And he, at this moment, from everything that I've seen on media, the video, it suggests that they're right for taking it away from him. Yeah, absolutely correct in taking it away from him. And so, I just want to say kudos to the mayor for doing that. Um,
Okay.
uh, Joe Biden has signed
President
into
Joe Biden.
President Joe Biden offering legal status to spouses of U.S. citizens, right?
All right
So,
now.
so a lot of spouses have held on to legalizing their spouses, and I know about 10 people in that case where the spouse, they're American citizens, and they don't want to grant freedom to the person. So the Department of Homeland Security, known as parole in place, will allow these immigrants to apply for work permits and deportation protection if they live in the United States for at least 10 years, right? The program requires undocumented spouses to file necessary paperwork and pass a criminal background. I have legally married to. All right, so those. Right, so let me see if they have lived in the United States for at least 10 years, and they would have to get married by yesterday, 2 days ago. And so, kudos to Biden for that. To expedite, for a lot of people who need green card without having to leave the United States, living in so that's good. The president blasted the predecessor and 2024
And we have
opponent.
1 minute to go. 1 minute to go.
So 1 minute to go. All right. So let's do some shout outs.
So wait. I hope fathers listening had a great Father's Day.
Absolutely.
We felt appreciated. So just to go back on that, I hope fathers actually had an awesome Father's Day. Now we can't see you because the light is right on top of. Okay. All
Thank
right.
you. I'm gonna fix that. All right.
Okay. And on that tip, we want to
Um,
say what?
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I was
Happy
just gonna
birthday.
say, like,
Happy birthday to everybody. Congratulations to those who are
yes.
graduating. And have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week.
Reminder: yesterday was Samper's birthday. Monday
Oh,
was
yes,
Dr.
yes,
Brian's
yes.
birthday, and Saturday was John's birthday. So
No,
happy birthday.
John was Monday.
John was Monday. Yours was Saturdays. Flip them. How was Chris Brown concert? You didn't talk about that.
Oh my God. Let me tell you, that's a true performer, true live performer. I'll go and see him anytime, any day. Hands down, it was packed 2 days straight. All worth it.
You went both
All
days. You went
no,
both
no,
days, or
no,
just
no,
on
no, no, no.
Sunday?
I just went one day. One day was he actually performed for over two and a half hours by himself
Wow,
alone.
that's nice.
Oh, that's
I'm,
real talent. Upside down singing a cappella and everything, and real vocals that you barely see. Can dance and flip and do all that. The man don't get enough. Just do what you do
um,
years ago.
just to
Shouldn't.
quickly on Karen's comment, mortgage and rent forgiveness. I don't know that that's going to happen. It would be too much of a burden on our community, but maybe not forgiveness, but replacement. Like, in other words, back end it. So those people in foreclosure move the amount of money that they owe to the back end of the mortgage, provided that they start paying the mortgage and paying it on time. Or change the interest rate to lower so people can refinance and make some money. Happy birthday. My wife's birthday is coming up next weekend. Oh, congratulations to my son Grayson and his team, the Huskies.
All right, Husky.
Tuesdays they won the Kiwanis League championship in
All
a
right.
stellar game, winning it 1-0. And they won it in extra innings, 1-0. So congratulations to them. God bless
And
each and every one of you. Hope you had a great Juneteenth. Enjoy your weekend. And thank you for watching, viewing, participating, sharing, subscribing to The Village Radio Talk Show. I am Roderick Daly, your host. Joining me is our co-hostess, Dr. Joanne Bryant, where we're dedicated to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life through education, helping each one of us in realizing our dreams at any age, at any point. Started from today. God bless each and every one of you. Good night.
bye.